45 or whatever angle you're working with. All right? Always set the tool back. And whatever you do, you got to take pride in your tools. Do not just drop this on the ground, okay? Pay attention, all right? It's your tools. It's your money, okay? That's basically the truth, all right? If I have to go out and buy another tool because people are mishandling it, just less training that you're going to get in the long run. So please pay attention to that. All right, again, unplug it for safety. Check to be sure everything is where it's supposed to be. I got my 90-degree back. I want to loosen up my blade and set that back to the proper location where it originally started. All right, and again, I'll reach over here, get my air hose. Blow off my tool. But be sure that you open up the valve. That becomes a problem sometimes. That air just doesn't go through the hose. Okay? And then when you're done, please wrap these up correctly, all right? Around the handle, not around the blade, all right? Around the handle. Now it can get noisy out here sometimes. That's why I suggested the earplugs if your ears are sensitive, all right? And again, put it away properly. Now, the other saw is identical except it's a larger saw. It also, well, the Milwaukee saw is a worm drive saw, all right? A worm drive has a lot more torque in it, all right? It'll cut forever, and it doesn't matter. It'll cut through nails, knots, anything. The thing about a worm drive is it's so powerful that if you're tweaking the tool, it can have a tendency of kicking back. But it's the smoothest operating thing, and it's very heavy. And also, be sure that the weight of your tool is on the closest part to the table. Otherwise, you'll have a tendency of making those bevel cuts or the angle cuts, whatever it is, at a less of an angle, all right? Because the weight of the tool starts separating from the wood. Now we're going to perform a plunge cut. Now, a plunge cut, I don't know exactly what the book tells you what a plunge cut is, but sometimes it's going to be necessary if you're laying out floors, walls, sometimes the ceilings. You're going to take the plywood and you're going to have to cut in without starting at the edge. So you're going to drop the blade down and then cut and then leave out of it prior to cutting the whole board off. And in some cases, it may be big holes, you know, 2x4 or something like this. But that plunge cut is what we're going to be discussing today. Now, of course, all your work is being done outside, but be sure for safety reasons, it's secured. You got plenty of room to work between the vices or the clamps and the outside edge of your work. So, before plugging in the saw, and again, remember we have two saws, so you can use either one, it really doesn't matter. But what we want to do is be sure it's unplugged. We're going to pick up our saw, we're going to open up the guard, and we're going to adjust the height, or excuse me, the depth of the saw. Now here, again, you want it about 1/8 of an inch to go through the wood. Now remember, no banging on this. Just use your hands. It should tighten up. If it doesn't, then either one of two things. Either it's broken or you are. But no beating on this thing. All right. Now what I've done, I set this off to the side. What I've done here is I've taken a piece of 3/4 inch plywood that we have out in the scraps. I don't care exactly how long this is, other than it should be a little longer than 10 inches, because the blade is 7 1/4, so I don't want you just to kind of go down. I want you to get a feel for getting as close to this mark and moving it up to this mark and then pulling it out. Now you may need to do this 2 or 3 times, but I want you to ensure that you don't go past those marks. All right, that's the whole process of this thing. All right, accuracy. But it's going to take you a little bit of time to get used to it unless you've done it already. All right, so we put our safety glasses on, plug in our little piece of equipment, get my gloves on. I like the gloves because I don't get the splinters and all this other stuff in my hands. All right, now to do this, what you have to do is raise the saw up out of it, the cutting area, and hold back the blade guard, okay? Now what you have to do is you got to kind of guess, all right, until you get used to this. See, if I started my plunge cut way back here, I'd set it in, and by the time I even get it down level, I'm way back here, so I pass my line. You'll see it better when you get it out on the thing, but what most people do is they start kind of in the middle, all right, or play with it right up against the edge. Now, of all the cuts, this is the most dangerous one because you're exposing your blade to yourself, all right? So what you want to do is, again, pull back on the blade guard, hold it in place, start your motor, full RPMs, and gently bring it down. Now you notice how I walk that blade back slowly. In some cases you're going to have to do that if you have too much area back here where you missed. A better method is just to raise the blade but keep it in a slot and just come down and plunge cut it again. But a good way of doing it is, you notice where the back of my blade is? If I eyeball that to my line, I may get pretty close to that, all right? I would always probably try to recommend, see, there's the beginning of my plunge cut right there. See the difference between the first cut blade and back here is about 1 inch. There's about 1 inch of play. If you want to try that a couple times, that's great. All right, it's all a learning experience. You don't use it a lot, but in some cases, it surely beats sitting there and trying to cut this with a handsaw or a jigsaw, especially if you got big pieces, all right? Once you understand how to do it, it goes right away. Real easy, slick. Be sure you unplug it, just like all our other tools. I need you to blow this stuff off with the air compressor outside, and then always return it to the proper setting, so it's ready for the next person. All right, again, if there's any problems, you never make a cut out here, do any of the tools until we see you physically do it. You can get it all set up and then call us and we'll come out and help you out. Now, our little handsaw, our backsaw they call it. All right, let me just get this stuff out of the way here a little bit. Some room. Now typically all we're going to do is just hack off a little piece. Your instructions will tell you what size, but typically we're just using 2x4 or whatever we have available at the time in wood wise. Typically the soft pine is probably the easiest. All right, get one that fits, okay? It's in the scrap bin inside, typically. Otherwise, the 2x4s are outside. All right? The other thing that you have to understand is that, remember like the hacksaw, the teeth are pointing forward? Same thing with the backsaw. This is normally used for trim work, all right, around the house. What you want to do is, there's all these different degrees, and they're written on top here if you look at it. 0 to 90 right here, 22.5, 45 degree angle. Those are your most common ones, all right? And you can do a 45 degree bevel cut on these things, okay? For simplicity, we just want you to practice cutting a few different types of angles here, all right? Now, you notice that I don't have my wood over here, I have it here because the way this tool is set up, it has an edge on it. All right, and that edge goes up against something that's solid. Here's another tool that people try to use more force than needed. All right, be sure your fingers are out of the way. Just firm up and hold it in place. And then just give it gradual motion. All right. Oh. All right. You don't have to sit there and brute strength it, okay? The other thing is, do a 45 or do a different angle, all right? Just to get used to the piece of equipment that you're working with, all right? Now you notice, if you go back past this opening, sometimes you'll catch it like that. Try to just, here's one place where you're just doing a little smooth, small strokes on it. All right? And it does a really clean job. And you know, if you're working around the house or you got a side project going on, these are really cheap. You buy the whole thing in a set. I don't know, 10 bucks maybe. And they'll last forever, all right? Until you try to put a 2x4 in here and use a saw to do this, circular saw, and now you're starting to ask for problems. So I don't want to see that happen. All right, again, clean out the tool, blow it off, put away the tools where you received them from, typically the tool crib. All right, if the tool is damaged, all right, let us know and we'll help you out and get it fixed or get a replacement for it. Now we're going into a few of the power tools. We're going to be just explaining this briefly and then going back and explaining each one in detail. We have the nail gun. This is used on big projects when you're trying to put up walls, frames, homes, stuff like this. We have the hand electric planer. Now remember, yesterday you did the block plane and jack plane. This is the power planer, all right? You do not want to get your hands up underneath this, all right? Then we have, known in the field as a cutoff saw, all right, or a chop saw. When we say a chop saw, we're talking about the portable ones, all right? The compound miter saw that you'll see later is an actual chop saw, but it's a much bigger operation. So this is the metal cutoff saw. This is for cutting your 2x4 studs, metal poles, anything that you need cut, rebar, stuff like that, that's what this is designed for. All right, now we're going to take each tool individually. Being the chop saw, all right, we got our safety gloves, our glasses, and the pencil if you need it. We're not really overly concerned about accuracy and measurement, but try to get it as close as possible. And your air hose, our electric cord, all of these tools can be found in the tool crib. All right, a little safety things about this tool. When you're cutting out here, and this is where you're going to be doing all this, is outside, is pay attention to what's around you. If there's other students, you have to let them know, all right? Tell them to move out of the way for the time being and make your cut and let them back doing what they have to do. Watch where you put the cord, all right? Right now it's unplugged. Now back here, there's a little chain, all right? We all call it the idiot chain back here, all right? It's a safety device. All you have to do is push down and remove it. Get it out of the way, all right? Lift back up and the wheel and the whole arm will come up together. If the blade for some reason looks like it's chipped, broken, busted, worn real bad, let us know, but normally it won't get that way before we change it out for you. Now, you can crank this back this way, or you can just lift it up and move it, all right? Totally up to you. Now, what I like you to do is, because we're working with the steel, and you don't know who cut the last piece, these things get really sharp, razor sharp on the ends, all right? And if you see this, just be careful. Now, that's just like a razor blade, okay? So be very careful of that when you're working around it, okay? Now, in your instructions, it tells you how long the cut needs to be. Measure it out, mark it, cut it. For this demonstration, we're just showing you how to use a tool. That's more important to me than the accuracy right now. Now, drop this down. It's a locking device, and you'll push. Now, you don't have to sit there and crank on this thing until it bends, all right? Just get it firmly and set and check it so it isn't going anywhere. This also can be adjusted to degrees, angles. We're not worried about that right now, but if you ever do need to do it, all you have to do is loosen this little bolt right here, and you can see where on the scale it's written the angles. And again, if you're going to do something that really needs precise angles, always take the tool and measure it. Be sure you have the right angle. Now, because this thing makes a lot of noise, all right, some of you may not be used to that. We have the hearing protection inside, just like we talked about before, and your safety glasses, all right? Also be careful about the fire hazard out here with the sparks, all right? Always check your area, be sure that there's nothing out here. We don't need any injuries. All right, the next thing is, again, this has a button on the side that will cause it to run permanently without your finger on the trigger. We don't prefer to use that. We have our finger trigger here. All you have to do is hit it, and it will start right up, all right? So let's move on. Start it up. Now, I know some of you may be out there that worked in the trades and stuff like this and know how to use this. Well, be sure you understand how to use it correctly. For those that have never used it, understand when this blade hits that metal, sparks are going to fly. And that also depends on the different types of metals, all right? So bring your hand up, get it out of the way, start it up. For some of you, like for us short people, it's a little difficult, but you get your hand up in there, start it up. Now you notice that my hand was out of the way. I cut all the way through, and this just drops off. If you try to cut a little ways through there and just don't want to drag it all the way down, this can have a tendency of catching on the way up and flinging out. Now, that's all you have to do. Make your cuts. Remember, any of these tools you will not use unless somebody is out here watching you. All right, you get it all set up. When it's ready to go, you call us, we'll come out, watch you do it. If you have questions, you always have to ask. Again, pull it out of here. Stow away the equipment correctly. Lock it down so nobody can get injured. And the final thing is just to blow off any debris that might be around. All right. Then the tool can be put back into the proper location. Now, when you're storing this, again, people have a tendency of wrapping it like this. Don't do that. put it around the handle, all right? We try to prevent as many stupid mistakes as possible, all right? And the tool is secured, all right? There's a handle up here, which you can grab a hold of, and it makes it a very easy carry for yourself. Now we're working with our power planer. This is a great tool when you have to use it like in doors. It'll shave off doors that are a little warped, and you know, out here doors get warped all the time around here. And you can adjust the thickness on this. The only thing is it's loud and it's messy. All right, this is made by DeWalt, Ryobi, other people make them. The big thing that you want to be sure of is your hand is not underneath this planer, all right, at any time. Those are really sharp and they're leveled with the base of the frame. What you want to do is decide how thick you want to plane off. And when you're planing, depending on the material of the wood, pine, you can take a little deeper cut. Oak, maple, walnut, really fine cuts. Your blades are going to last a lot longer. Of course, it has the trigger housing. This is the exhaust. All the stuff is going to blow out, so if it's windy, be prepared for that. Here is your depth adjustment right here. All you have to do is turn it, all right, and it will tell you. What happens is the back part of this stays flush, the bottom part rotates up, and that allows the blade to cut that depth. You'll see better when you get it in your hands. The thumb screw up here, if you're doing a lot of work that is precision type, you can put this on and you can just always keep it square. It's helpful, but we're not going to use it today. The other thing, just like the block plane, jack plane, smooth planes, all right, set it on its edge. Don't ever set it on the front, all right, on its face, because otherwise it's just going to allow that blade to get damaged. And everybody knows, as soon as that blade gets damaged, it just costs us more money to fix it, and it causes damage to other people's wood. The wood students use this, and we want to have it as works correctly as possible, as long as possible. All right. Again, we've been over it again. Earplugs. Because this pushes out a lot of power and a lot of dust, be sure nobody's around you at the time. Now, I have this set at the bare minimum, all right? I'm gonna just tweak it a little bit, about 3/16 of an inch, or 3/32 of an inch, excuse me. All right, gonna plug it in. Now, I'm working on this side because I have a better shot at my work, all right? The key to this tool is that you don't want to apply a lot of pressure, but what you want to do is you want to keep it in the center as much as possible. Your hand's going to go up on top to hold it steady. As you practice with this, you're going to notice at first maybe your hands are going like this, wobbling back and forth. That's natural. Once you get a feel for it, and you get past that scared point where you think this is going to suck you in and ruin your day, just be sure that you got it in the middle. You got your hand firmed up on the ball of the tool, and your finger is on the trigger. Again, like any other tool, get a feel for where the blade's located so that when you're starting this up, it's not on the wood. So we'll go through it and pay attention to what's going on here. Flat surface. And you notice that I followed all the way through this. Again, center, hand on the ball, finger on the trigger. All right. Okay, so now, just for a safety factor, be sure that you check and be sure that the knob is back at 0, that the blade is buried below the face. Set it on its side, unplug it. Like always, blow off our tools. We're just trying to keep these maintained as well as possible. Again, inside the box, there's a position where this tool fits. All right? Try to be sure that you get that in there. Just don't throw it up in there. These tools are actually your tools, so please take care of them. Roll up the cord. Close up the box. Blow off the box. And it's ready for the next student. All right? Okay, the next tool, the Fierce nail gun. All right, this is a framing nail gun. We have them in brad nailers, we have it in staplers, we have it in the large nail guns as well. We do not have a coil nail gun yet, but someday hopefully we will have that. This is actually a lethal weapon. I know, but I've seen it personally, been in the building where people not knowing what they're doing, nailing through a roof, and the nails are so powerful that they're going straight through the roof, and everybody's running like you can't imagine. All right? So be very, very careful with this. Respect it, just like a handgun, because basically that's what this is. All right? Little safety features. Okay, the trigger, you notice that it's just kind of sitting limp there, all right, because until the plunge